At the beginning of the story, we see a young boy standing in front of a forge. The boy was heating a sword with the forge. He steeled his resolve and raised the hot sword. He opened his mouth and bit the hot sword. He shoved it into his mouth. Ever since this boy, whose name is Arhan, was young, his father would often tell him a story. While standing in front of a huge portrait of a swordsman, Arhan's father told him that every member of the caravan family must remember this story. He placed his hand on Arhan's head and told him that their family might currently be living in a small village far from the capital, but this was not the case 200 years ago. Their status was unmatched at that time. With a look of hope in his eyes, Arhan's father told him that their family had a knight called the God of War. They also possessed righteous supervisors who were favored by the king and respected by everyone. The man pat his son's head and told him that their family was chosen by the sword, and they have produced several sword masters for generations. This is why everyone treated them with respect. The caravan family were the invincible protectors. Arhan's father placed his hand on his shoulder and told him that he will one day take over his position and become the head of the caravan family. He told his son that he must always live with the pride of the caravan family flowing through his veins to regain their glory and to stand tall once more as the protector of the land. This was the duty of the caravan family. Some years later, we see the older Arhan cutting some wheat in a wheat field. At this point, the boy came to the realization that the heroic tales his father used to tell him were just tall tales. He saw his family as disgraced nobles clinging to the past. This was a pretty common thing among nobles. He believed that his family wouldn't be living as landlords in their poor village if the stories were true. They wouldn't be spending time doing farm work with the tenants. After cutting up the wheat, Arhan picked them up and moved them to another place. He thought about how his father's stories had so many holes in them. The idolized figure in the portrait, who is the founder of the family, looked odd to Arhan. No matter how much he looks at the portrait, the founder didn't resemble him and his father at all. Even the sword that was passed down in his family looked weird to him. For something that was supposedly made hundreds of years ago, it is way too sharp and intact. The weirdest thing about the stories was that there was no mention of Liam Caravan, the founder of the family, in any of the kingdom's history books. Arhan couldn't find a single thing in the books. Based on what he saw, Arhan concluded that the stories were just tall tales that were made up to give the descendants something to be proud of. While he was thinking, Arhan looked at the cart containing the wheat. Someone called out to him and asked him about why he is zoning out. When Arhan turned around, he saw a man smiling at him. The man told him that it is time for their snack break. A man sitting on the ground told him that they will eat all the warm bread if he doesn't hurry. An elderly man told him that he will eat it by himself. Arhan asked them to wait for him. A woman hit the elderly man in his back to stop him from choking on the food. Our boy smiled when he saw this. He asked himself if it matters that the caravan family is not a great family. Everyone there welcomed him, and he loved this place because he got to live with the people there. This was the caravan that Arhan wanted. He loved the way things were. He ran to the villagers with a bright smile on his face. Unfortunately for Arhan, this peaceful and loving place was about to be gone. Later in the evening, Arhan got on a horse and told the villagers that he has harvested enough for today. He informed them that he is heading to the market in the neighboring town. He told them that he will pick up the things they need while he is there. He asked a man known as Kuan if he would like some apples. He recalled that Kuan has been grumbling about the fact that he hasn't seen any fruit for a while. Kuan laughed and told Arhan that apples would be nice. Arhan turned to a woman known as Marino and told her that the birthday of her youngest daughter is coming up soon. He told Marino that he will get her daughter a pretty doll if he sees one. Marino smiled and asked him about how he knows about her daughter's birthday. Arhan winked at the woman and told her that he knows everything. He reminded her that he is going to be the next lord of the land. After saying this, Arhan rode his horse forward and waved his hand to them. He told them that he will see them later. The villagers asked Arhan to have a safe trip. Arhan smiled brightly as he rode his horse forward. After our boy left the area, Kuan said that there is no one like their young master. An older man agreed with him. He said that their young master is different from other nobles. A woman said that she is worried that some young lady will try to snatch Arhan up. Kuan smiled and said that they need to finish the rest of their work before it gets too late. He reminded some women that they will be having their regular meeting with the Lord today. Immediately he said this, his head got split apart. The women were shocked to see blood gushing out of Kuan's head. Before they could do anything, their heads got split apart. Their blood splashed on the wheat. A man walked past them and said that this land must be erased. The moment he said this, the other villagers nervously turned around. One of them asked the man about his identity. The man ignored him and walked past the villagers with his sword. He said that this land must be erased. The moment he said this, every single person there got torn apart. The man continued walking as if nothing happened. Later in the night, we see a doll and some apples fall to the ground. The items fell from Arhin's hands. The boy was horrified to see what was in front of him. He saw the bodies of the villagers lying on the ground. He didn't understand why everyone was on the ground. While he was frozen in shock, a man appeared behind him. With tears in his eyes, the man covered Arhin's eyes and asked him not to look. Arhin called out to his butler and told him that something is wrong. He told the man that he is seeing things. He began to cry. The butler informed him that a swordsman came there and said that the caravan should be erased. It only took the swordsman 10 minutes to wreak havoc in the village. He wielded his blade with a cold indifference. He appeared out of nowhere and took the lives of half of the villagers in 10 minutes. He destroyed the houses with a single swing of his sword. While destroying everything, the man said that he is just following orders. Half of caravan fell and was erased without a trace by a single disaster known as a sword master. Arhin and his butler went to the mansion. Our boy saw the bodies of the maids and servants on the ground. He couldn't process what his eyes were seeing. Several servants were beheaded. Arhin grabbed his hair. He slowly fell into despair before he could completely lose his mind. Someone called out to him. Arhin was shocked to hear the person's voice. He quickly turned around to see his mother. Amidst this unexpected, terrible disaster, a glimpse of hope finally appeared for our boy. The woman ran forward and hugged her son. She was so happy to see that he was alive. She told him that she is glad to see that he is safe. Arhin held his mother tightly. In this moment, the warmth of his mother's embrace brought a fleeting sense of relief. While he was holding his mother, Arhin saw his father in front of him. The Lord held his family's flag with eyes filled with despair. He asked about why this happened. Unfortunately for him, the tragedy just began for their family. For some reason, the sword master wiped out half of the caravan territory, but he did not harm Arhin's parents. He simply left them with some words. The sword master told the defeated lord that he will return in a month. He asked him to leave the territory with everyone if he wishes to live. Tears filled the lord's eyes. He screamed and asked the man about why he is doing this. He asked him to tell him the crime that their family committed to deserve this. The sword master ignored him and turned around. With a sad look in his eyes, he said that he is just following orders. After he left behind his incomprehensible words, the villagers began to leave the village one by one. Although it was the only way to save their lives, the caravan family weren't even given this choice. Arhin's father was crushed by the weight of his responsibility and his powerlessness as a lord. His mind broke. He began to hit his head on a wooden board. He took out a book and said that he is a great knight who hunts nightmares. He told himself that he is the iron-blooded guardian who protects the kingdom. He said that it is his solemn duty to behead the great evil that will come soon. He swore to the heavens that he would never give up. The scene shifts and we see Arhin's mother smiling at him. She revealed to him that she instructed the butler to prepare a carriage. She told her son that he will leave the territory with the butler and go as far away as possible from the territory. Arhin asked his mother to not say this. He told her that she needs to leave too. He said that they can take his father with them. His mother told him that his father can't leave this place. She explained to him that her husband will want to face the enemy as the Lord of Caravan until the very end. She said that she will be with her husband as his partner until the very end. Arhin began to cry when he heard this. He begged his mother to follow him. His mother asked him to remember that the stories his father told him weren't true. She said that all the tales of a righteous guardian and an invincible protector are nothing more than a history filled with lies. She asked Arhin to make her a promise. With eyes filled with desperation, the woman asked her weeping son to promise her that he will never wield a sword in his life. She asked him to promise her that he will survive no matter what. She asked him not to even think about taking revenge. She helped him clean his tears and asked him to live for himself. Immediately she said this, the butler called out to her and informed her that the carriage is ready. Arhin grabbed his mother's hand when he heard this. The woman asked the butler to take good care of her son. She asked him to make sure that Arhin gets as far away from there as possible before the sword master comes. The butler accepted his mistress's order. He dragged Arhin away with tears in his eyes. While he was dragging our boy, he called out to his mother. His mother simply closed her eyes. The butler told Arhin that they need to go. Our boy still called out to his mother. With tears in her eyes, the woman told her child that she loves him. She returned to the mansion to see her husband still hitting his head on the wooden board. The man seemed to have completely lost his mind. His wife hugged him from behind and asked him to stop suffering alone. She told him that she will be with him until the very end. A while later, we see the butler riding the carriage through the forest. He told his young master that he understands that this is an incredibly painful and devastating situation. He told Arhin that he has to endure it. He said that their opponent is a calamity, a natural disaster that humans like them cannot possibly overcome. The man explained to Arhin that he needs to accept this tragedy for what it is and forget about it if he wants to continue living. He assured him that the Lord and his wife would have wanted him to do this in order for him to live on. The moment he said this, the man turned around. He saw that his carriage was empty. Arhin was already running towards the mansion. He ran there with a crossbow on his back. No matter how much he thought about it, he couldn't just leave on his own. He couldn't leave his parents behind. Arhin couldn't run away alone. Although the mysterious man was called a calamity, Arhin still believed that a sword master was still just a man. He told himself that the sword master is a man who will die if an arrow pierces his heart. Our boy spent the last month preparing a deadly poison. He was certain that he will be able to protect his parents if he can hit the sword master with his arrow. The moment he arrived at his mansion, Arhin saw something horrifying. He saw his father's head tied to his family's flagpole. The sword master stood next to the body of Arhin's mother. He told our boy that he is foolish. He turned around and asked him if he has come to embrace death, even though he granted him mercy. Arhin screamed out in pain. He saw his mother's body lying on the ground. Tears filled his eyes. He raised his crossbow and screamed out. He told the man that he will kill him. The sword master glared at him when he heard this. The moment he did this, Arhin got beheaded. This didn't actually happen. Arhin just got the sense that he was going to die if he did anything. He fell to his knees and struggled to catch his breath. The sword master walked forward and told Arhin that he is not yet 18. He asked him to consider himself lucky. He told our boy that he won't take his life today. He asked him to drown in his despair. He walked past Arhin and told him that there won't be a single trace of the caravans left on the continent. He told Arhin that he will find him if he dares to continue his bloodline. He said that the caravan should simply disappear like this. After he left, Arhin ran to his mother. Tears poured down from his eyes as he held her body. He told himself that he is pathetic for not being able to do anything. He held his mother tightly and cried out loud. He screamed out in pain. He lost everything on this day. At least this is what he thought. One day, the founder's sword began to glow. The sword asked him to show some respect. Arhin was shocked to hear this. The sword released some energy. The energy took the shape of a man. It took the shape of the founder. Liam Caravan referred to Arhin as his descendant. The scene shifts, and we are taken back to the past. It has been a year since Arhin buried his parents and his servants in one corner of his estate. During the past year, Arhin prepared for his revenge. He researched on the pinnacle, the one who is currently hailed as the strongest sword on the continent, the guardian who protects the kingdom's peace, the righteous sentinel who eradicates evil, a superhuman with the most brilliant talent on the continent. His name is Carlos. He is known as the wielder of the 10 swords. This is the name and the title of the man who took everything away from Arhin. Unfortunately, the truth still remained shrouded in mystery. Arhin didn't know why Carlos killed his family. He didn't know about who supported the decision and the kind of secrets that his family holds. There was only one thing that was clear to him. The lives of all the people who died in vain will never return. While carrying out his research, Arhin came across something. He saw the founder's sword glowing. He wondered if the unsolved mysteries have finally driven him to madness. He watched the sword release some energy. He saw the energy take the shape of the founder. He heard Liam ask him to show him some respect. Arhin thought that everything about his family was a lie, but what stood in front of him was the ancestor from the legends. He couldn't understand what was happening. As the rain outside poured heavily, Arhin reminded himself that he has heard about something like this before. He clenched his fist and told himself that those who have suffered severe mental shock often experience hallucinations. However, Arhin couldn't simply dismiss what was in front of him. The spirit in front of him told him that he can sense his wavering. He asked Arhin if he is afraid that he has truly gone mad, or if he is paralyzed by the fact that the ancestor he dismissed as a fantasy has appeared before him. Arhin was surprised to hear this. He asked the man if this is really reality. He asked him if he is truly the founder of the Caravan family and the strongest sword master in history. He asked Liam to tell him why he is just appearing to him now if he is truly the person from his father's heroic tales. As lightning struck, Arhin asked Liam to tell him why he is coming now after all this time. He grit his teeth out of anger and glared at Liam. Liam crossed his arms and told him that it is because he wanted to test him by himself. He explained to Arhin that revenge is an ordeal that shouldn't even be started unless a person is prepared to give up everything. Due to this, Liam watched our boy every single day for the past year. He told Arhin that he must also recognize that he has no talent. Despite the fact that our boy has no talent, his obsession never allowed him to let go of his sword even for a single day. Also, his will never wavered even for a single moment. Liam reminded Arhin that he asked him about why he is just appearing now. He told him that the answer to this is simple. He revealed to him that the hatred in his eyes has finally reached the depth that he desires. Liam said that his second reason is because his own patience has reached the limit. He said that the murderous intent within him wants to tear apart the man who brutally slaughtered his descendant and the people of his land. Liam told Arhin that there is one fact that has never been disproven throughout the history of the continent. Only a sword master can kill a sword master. He told our boy that he swings his sword with such stubbornness because he is also aware of this. He stretched out his hand and explained to Arhin that he will never be able to catch up to Carlos on his own, even if he trains for a lifetime. A sword master is a transcendent existence. They have gone beyond the limits of humanity. They possess a level of skill that even the so-called geniuses can never hope to reach. Even among sword masters, Carlos is a transcendent being who stands far above the rest. Liam explained to Arhin that there were only a handful of warriors as skilled as Carlos during the Age of War. He said that no one in this age can kill Carlos. As time passes, he will become even greater. Arhin couldn't believe what he was hearing. He now understood that he had no chance of winning. He was already aware of how vast the gap between him and Carlos was, but he never thought that it was beyond difficult. He couldn't believe that Liam was telling him that it is impossible for him to get his revenge. He couldn't accept the fact that he had to stand by and watch the bastard who took everything away from him enjoy the life of a hero. He realized that he has once again become powerless. Liam told Arhin that things are going to be different from now on. He told him that he is going to help him become a sharper and stronger blade than Carlos. He assured our boy that he will be the one to judge the murderer as a member of the caravan family. He said that there is only one path that a caravan can take. Liam referred to Arhin as the descendant of the steel-blooded and asked him to eat his sword. Arhin was shocked to hear this. The scene shifts and we are taken to a smithy. We see several weapons inside the smithy. Arhin ignited the forge and placed a sword inside. Liam revealed to him that the caravan bloodline is a mix of human and dwarven blood. He said that the bloodline began with him, the half-dwarf. He explained to Arhin that they did not gain the physical traits of the dwarves, but within their blood is a special ability passed down to the descendants of the caravan family. This ability is the power to consume swords. By doing this, the caravans made the memories and skills of the former wielder their own. This is how the caravan family has been able to produce sword masters for generations. It is the source of the power that made them such a great family. Arhin never thought that he would hear about people inheriting power by eating swords. He knew that dwarves were friends of iron and fire, but he had never heard of such a bizarre ability. The entire situation made no sense to him, and the stories were a bit confusing. However, Arhin knew that the truth can only be proven by results. He knew that he didn't have the luxury to doubt anything. He turned to his ancestor and asked him to tell him how to consume the sword. Liam smiled when he heard this. He told Arhin that the method of consuming the sword is easy. He asked him to just heat the sword until the blade is soft enough. Once he is done, our boy needs to start eating it. Arhin raised his sword and moved it close to his mouth. He was quite nervous to eat the hot steel. He told himself that he might be trapped in a nightmare right now, or he has simply gone mad. He said that he might even be getting led astray by a mere phantom. However, Arhin didn't really care. As long as there was a sliver of chance, our boy was willing to take the risk. He put himself together and bit the hot steel. He screamed out in pain as the steel went down his throat. He felt like his entire body was burning. Arhin could feel fire in every part of his body. The hot sword fell out of his hand. Arhin fell to his knees and held his throat. He fell to the ground and tightened his grip around his throat. While struggling to put himself together, Arhin told himself that he needs to remember. He remembered how his people were slaughtered, how his father got beheaded, and how his mother lost her life. He remembered the face of the murderer. Arhin gathered his strength and picked up the remaining steel. He began to eat it. As he shoved it down his throat, he told himself that he will become one of them even if it costs him his life. He assured himself that he will become a sword master to kill Carlos. In the next scene, we see Arhan wake up in the smithy. He was shocked to see that he was alive. He couldn't believe that he did not get a single injury. He could still vividly recall the pain of chewing and swallowing the hot steel. He almost thought that everything that happened yesterday was a dream. Thankfully, this wasn't the case. Arhan turned to the side. He saw the sword hilt next to him. He knew that there would be no reason for only the sword hilt to be left there if he was dreaming. While he was thinking, someone told him that his mental fortitude is actually commendable for a person with a hopelessly weak body. Arhan turned around to see Liam. The old man informed him that some of his ancestors couldn't withstand the searing pain, and more than a few of them gave up. Liam asked Arhan if he believes his story now. He told him that all the legends of the Caravan family that his father told him were true. He assured Arhan that he is not a mere hallucination. Arhan quickly went on his knees and bowed his head. He greeted the progenitor. Liam smiled and asked our boy to call him master. He said that everyone who has received his teachings have called him master. Arhan told him that he understands. He raised his head and asked Liam if he inherited his great power just like his father said. He reminded Liam that he mentioned that he could gain power by simply consuming swords. He told his master that he can't feel that much has changed. Liam cleared his throat and told Arhan that they have a little problem. He told him that the problem comes from him. Arhan asked him about what he means. Liam explained to him that his original plan was to have him eat his beloved sword and raise him to the level of a sword master. However, this didn't happen because his blood might have thinned over the generations. Liam explained to Arhan that he still inherited the ability to consume swords, but the ability to digest the power contained within the sword seems to have weakened considerably. Liam told our boy that it is impossible for him to fully digest the essence of his sword in his current state. Arhan was shocked to hear this. He put himself together and told his master that he understands. He said that he knows he is telling the truth. Liam asked Arhan if this is all he has to say. Arhan explained to him that he was already aware of his body's weakness. He told him that he is disappointed with the result, but he is quite grateful that another path remains open for him. Liam asked him about what he means. Arhan told him that he just said that it is impossible for him to digest the essence in his current state. This means that he will be able to handle the power one day. Arhan told his master that he basically needs to start with a sword that he can handle. This means that he just needs to find a sword that fits the current version of himself. Liam smiled when he heard this. He told his disciple that he already has the intuition of a sword master. He told him that they need to get a worn-out and well-used sword. He asked Arhan to guide him to an area where old shabby weapons are abundant. He told him that he will pick a weapon for him. Arhan took his master to a place filled with thousands of items. Liam said that the place is pretty gloomy. He told Arhan that necromancers would love a place like this. Arhan revealed to him that all the old things from the slums are gathered there. It contains worthless scrap metal and unusable weapons. Our boy told Liam that there is no place more suitable than this to seek a sword that meets his condition. Liam told him that this place is a good start. He looked around and said that he also used to devour swords in places where the smell of blood was thick. The swords were held tightly by the fallen soldiers. The axes were covered in mud and blood. There were spears with broken shafts rolling on the ground. Liam said that he ate everything with all his might. He did this to grow stronger and survive. With a crazy look in his eyes, Liam said that this place reminds him of those times. He told his disciple that they clashed without end to guard the sparks of life. They acquired several wounds. Some died on the same day, and others lived to see tomorrow. Living in those days was a battle. In the midst of those struggles, countless lives were inevitably extinguished without trace. And yet, a select few leave behind a dazzling single point of light. Immediately he said this. Liam found a weapon. He pointed at it and asked his disciple to take it. He told Arhan that he must devour this thin weapon as his second sword. 1 month later, we are taken to the Caravan mansion. We see some men walking in the mansion. The men assumed that the place was abandoned. They didn't see a single person in the mansion and in the village. One of them suggested that a warlock might have used the mansion to experiment on living beings before. His comrade disagreed with him. He told him that they would have died immediately they stepped into the mansion if it was owned by a warlock. He said that some fallen noble is probably hiding there. He asked his comrade if he can't tell that the place reeks of the smell of the rich. The men sat down and laughed. They said that their luck has finally turned around. They believed that their job was going to be easy. One of them found an item while looking around. He informed his comrades that the daughter of a noble stays there. He raised the dress he found and told his comrades that there is a whole pile of fine women's clothes that are freshly washed. The man smelled the clothes and told his comrades that the scent is truly different. The bald one among them smiled like a lunatic and said that they will be able to have another kind of fun if they play their cards well. The men quickly gathered around to sniff Arhin's mother's clothes. Someone asked them to stop. The men quickly turned to the person. The person turned out to be Arhin. Our boy told the men that his mother liked things being tidy. He said that she truly hated it when her belongings were a mess. He asked the men to put down the dress and have a conversation with him. The men were surprised to hear this. They were relieved to see that the person who asked them to stop was a young boy. One of them said that he could be the son of the mansion's owner. Arhin asked the men if they came to seek food or simply get a place to stay. He asked them to give him an answer. He told them that he is willing to accept them as guests if it is for one of these reasons. The bald man was annoyed to hear this. He asked Arhin if he has lost his mind. He said that nobles have no common sense. He told our boy that he should have stayed hidden quietly. He asked him about why he crawled out to make a fuss. Arhin closed his eyes when he heard this. The man charged at him and asked him if he is eager to die. Arhin opened his eyes when he heard this. Something in him got activated. He stabbed the man in his stomach with a very thin sword before he could touch him. The man spat out some blood. Arhin told him that he now understands that they are intruders, not guests. The scene shifts, and we are taken to the past. We see Arhin staring at a furnace. He asked his master if this is really the sword he is supposed to eat. He said that it looks more like a needle than a sword. He told Liam that the sword looks like it will snap if he tries to cut something with it. Liam told him that this is expected. He explained to Arhin that the sword was never meant for slashing foes, nor is it for crushing them. He told him that it is a weapon forged for a single purpose, in a decisive battle where life and death hang in the balance. This sword is meant for piercing through the enemy's vital points to end their life. It is a sword that is used to thrust. Arhin didn't expect to hear this. He carefully looked at the sword. He didn't think that it was only made for thrusting. He believed that it would have been better for him to get a sturdier and more familiar weapon. Liam told him that he can tell that he believes a spear would be better. Arhin became nervous when he heard this. He didn't expect his master to know what he was thinking. Liam told him that his doubt isn't completely wrong. He explained to Arhin that the memories dwelling within the sword are the most useful thing for his weak and fragile body. He revealed to Arhin that before the previous owner died, she single-handedly pierced the lives of over 2,000 enemies. He told Arhin that the woman did this with a body more slender than his own. He asked him to treat the sword with the respect it deserves and consume it with gratitude. He said that the weight of the sword may be light, but the life that dwells within it is immeasurably heavy and solemn. Liam told his descendant that there is much for him to gain from inheriting the woman's memories. As he spoke, Arhin put the sword into the furnace. The scene shifts, and we see a young girl saying that the last thing she remembered as a child was a burning mansion. When the girl, who was barely 10 years old, opened her eyes, many things had changed. Her parents had been reduced to ashes in the inferno. Their bodies were unrecognizable. The girl herself woke up with a scar on her face. When she heard that she was the only one who managed to survive, the girl softly said that she wished she had died with her parents. After losing everything in an instant, the child was sent to live in an old orphanage. This orphanage worshipped the goddess of fire. The day the girl learnt that the orphanage was a place that considered fire to be the salvation, she was dragged down to rock bottom again. She who had lost everything to fire had to live in a place that saw fire as salvation. The girl realized that she still hadn't escaped the flames. The days that followed were horribly peaceful. While she was trying to pray in the church, some women gossiped about her face. One of them asked her friend if she knows why the girl's face is like that. Her friend told her that the girl was cursed by their goddess. Another woman was surprised to hear that her scar is a mark of a curse. Her friend said that this must be the reason why she feels disgusted every time she sees it. The woman said that the little girl is creepy and disgusting. Someone even called her a monster. As she heard these words, the girl wished that she was dead. Every day, she prayed for death to come for her, so that she could escape the fire that consumed her face that day, and to escape the fire of hatred that surrounds her when she opens her eyes. The girl wished for death until a certain day came. When she thought about that day, the girl realized that the man's swordsmanship was quite rough and crude, but it possessed a beauty that was more than enough to make her forget the hell that filled her mind, even if it was just for a moment. The man's name is Hekal. He was an old swordsman and a former wandering knight who had worked in the orphanage for a long time. Normally, the girl wouldn't dare say a single word to an old man with such a harsh face, but she decided to take her first step towards wanting to live. She walked out of the shadows and asked Hikul to tell her how she can become like him. She told the man that she wants to learn from him. Hikul carefully looked at the girl whose name is Mary. He told her that his swordsmanship won't be of much help to her in life. He told her that a blade will only end up hurting a girl like her. He begged her to go back to her room. Mary gently touched her face. She clenched her fist and told the man that no fire would be able to scare her again if she can learn this. Mary's sincerity seemed to touch Hikul's heart. The man placed a barrel of swords in front of her and asked her to choose one. He told her that he will teach her if she can swing the sword. Mary carefully looked at the swords. She asked Hikul if she has to be able to swing the sword. Hikul asked her if there is anything else she can do if not this. Mary took out the needle sword and pointed it at the man. She told Hikul that she will become whatever she needs to be as long as she can fight back. This was Mary's first thrust. The scene shifts, and we are taken back to the present. We see the bald man falling to the ground after getting stabbed by Arhin. His comrades were shocked to see what happened. With a shaky tone in his voice, one of them said that this is a joke. Arhin swung his needle sword to remove the blood off it and told the men that there is no point in talking anymore. Liam watched him from behind. He thought about how he had only taught Arhin one thing for the past month. He taught our boy a physical training method that would allow him to run for hours without getting tired. He didn't teach Arhin any swordsmanship, and yet Arhin was able to pull off a clean thrust. Liam realized that his young descendant was properly digesting the sword. He watched Arhin take a stance. He wanted to see how he will take his first steps as a caravan. The bald man got pierced in a place that a person can only reach by precisely aiming between the ribs. He got attacked in his lungs. Someone like Arhin, with absolutely no skill or experience with a sword, could never perform such a precise thrust. Yet there was only one reason why this was possible. He got the memories of the owner of the needle that he consumed a month ago. He got Mary's memories. The scene shifts, and we are taken to the past. We see Mary talking about how Hikul taught her many things after the day she picked up the sword. The man taught her how to stand straight and hold a sword, how to fight, and even how to survive. Although it wasn't a systematically established theory, Hikul's swordsmanship contained the romance and freedom that he gained while living as a wandering knight. For a girl who feared fire, Hikul's swordsmanship was beautiful beyond compare. It carried a quiet toughness. The older Mary decided to name the swordsmanship Hikul's blade. She loved it with all her heart. A few years later, we see a sick Hikul lying on the bed. He told Mary that a day will come when she has to leave this place. Mary held his shaky hand. Hikul asked her to go out into the wider world when she leaves this place. He told her that this is the last thing he will leave to her. He said that it is his final lesson. He carefully looked at his weeping student and told her that he is glad that she is there at the end of his journey. After saying this, Hikul passed away. Mary bowed her head and thanked him for everything. She asked him to rest in peace. After Hikul passed away, Mary left the orphanage and went out into the world. Before long, Mary made a name for herself as a fairly well-known mercenary. Maybe it was because she used a peculiar sword that was as thin as a needle, or maybe it was because it was rare to see a young woman in this line of work. People began to call the woman the sewing gypsy. The scene shifts, and we are taken back to the present. As Arhin took a stance, he realized that this was the digestion his master spoke about. He noticed that Mary's memories were flowing into his mind. They were speaking to him. The bald man on the ground quickly began to beg Arhin. He begged our boy to spare him. Unfortunately for him, Arhin didn't listen to his plea. He stabbed the man in his neck and said that he put an end to things in a clean manner. Immediately he said this, he realized that this was his first time killing someone. However, despite this being his first time, our boy felt no emotions at all. All he could see was what remained in front of him. He knew that he was only able to get an opening before because the man underestimated him. But now, he is outnumbered. Arhin knew that he wouldn't have the same luck as before. He was certain that his enemies also knew about this. He didn't understand why they weren't charging at him when they have the advantage in numbers. Liam revealed to our boy that the men are scared. He said that they have a good reason to be terrified. He explained to Arhin that the movements he just showed weren't something that a beginner would do. The men were shaking. They wondered about what they should do. Liam explained to Arhin that a moderate amount of fear helps one to survive, but excessive fear clouds one's judgment. It makes the enemy before them seem bigger than they really are, and it tricks them into believing that the enemy is a much more powerful being. Liam told Arhin that the men currently see him as a murderous fiend that is skilled with the sword. Upon hearing this, Arhin realized that it was time for him to attack. He charged at the other 3 men. When he got close to them, the man in front asked him not to come close. He raised his weapon and told Arhin that he will kill him. He swung his weapon at Arhin. Our boy moved back to dodge the attack. He quickly moved to the side. The man was surprised to see this. Before he could do anything, Arhin stabbed him in the neck. He glared at the man with a cold gaze in his eyes. He drew out his sword and charged at another man. The man began to panic when he saw Arhin coming towards him. As he charged at the man, Arhin recalled that Hekal told Mary that time will never be on her side because she is a woman who was born with no brute strength or stamina. Therefore, on the first or second attack, Mary needs to pierce her enemy. The scared man thrust his spear at Arhin. Our boy jumped over the man to dodge the attack. He landed next to him and used his sword to pierce the man's arm. The man screamed out in pain. The scene shifts, and we see Mary taking down a bunch of men. A huge man swung his sword at her. Mary remembered that her master advised her not to try to use what she doesn't have. He told her that she needs to use the things she has to shine. Mary's strength is her natural flexibility. She had a body of a dancer. From any posture and any angle, Mary can aim for her enemy's life. She dodged the man's sword and used his knee to push herself up. While in the air, she used her sword to pierce the man's head. The scene shifts, and we are taken to the present. We see the third man fall to the ground after getting stabbed by Arhin. The last guy began to cry. With his shaky hand, he raised his dagger and pointed it at Arhin. When he saw the horrifying look in Arhin's eyes, he knew that he was going to die. He called our boy a murderous fiend. Later in the night, we see Arhin digging a grave with a shovel. As he buried the men in the grave, Liam asked him if he can now cast his doubts aside. He told him that 4 untrained thugs are not his opponents if he has the stamina to swing a sword all day without losing his breath. As he spoke, Arhin looked at the bodies of the men in the pit. Liam told our boy that a caravan grows stronger amidst a life-or-death battle. Arhin carefully looked at his hand. He realized that his master's words were true. He remembered how his body became as flexible as a dancer's own. It was as if it was reacting to the memories within the sword. He recalled that Mary's memories became clearer as the fight begun. He now understood how it was for Mary to fight against the world. Arhin realized that this is what his master meant when he told him that he will grow stronger the more he understands the sword. This was the power of digestion. Liam told his student that he never lies when it comes to matters related to the sword. He promised Arhin that his days ahead will be painful. He told him that he will face a series of trials where he will wish that he was dead. He told our boy that he will feel like the hardship he faced today was a blessing. He asked Arhin if he will still walk down this path after hearing all this. Arhin told his master that he is willing to walk down any path if it means that he gets to point his sword at Carlos's throat. In the next scene, we see our boy breathing heavily. He asked his master if this is truly the right path. Arhin was climbing a cliff. He was already quite high up. Liam asked our boy about where the look he had last night went. He asked him if his doubts have returned. He said that his doubt is actually one of his strengths. He told Arhin that he has always been this way ever since he was young. He said that they will need to work on this trait at some point. Arhin couldn't argue because he was trembling. Liam told him that he will answer his question. He reminded Arhin that the path of a swordsman is broadly divided into 5 stages. The path begins with the sword beginner. Sword beginners who have talent reach the realm of sword walkers. Sword walkers who establish themselves as strong and become the linchpin of the battlefield reach the realm of sword runners. The hero who can overturn the tide of battle alone is the sword expert. Finally, there are those who reign above all swordsmen. They are revered as gods. They have achieved the mind sword. They are known as sword masters. Liam asked Arhin about where he belongs on this list. Arhin told him that he knows he wants a bold answer. He said that he knows his own level well. He said that the prerequisite for becoming a sword master is wielding mana, and to wield mana, one needs a vessel to store it. This vessel is a second heart. A person needs to form a mana heart to use mana. Since he hadn't formed a mana heart yet, Arhin said that he doesn't qualify to be a sword beginner. Liam told him that he is well informed. He smiled and told his descendant that he has not even entered the path of the sword. He told Arhin that he is a novice among novices. As he watched Arhin struggle to hold on to a rock, he explained to him that this training is meant to guide a novice like him onto the path of a beginner so that he can form a mana heart. Arhin was shocked to hear this. He asked Liam if he is going through all these risks just so that he can form a mana heart. Liam didn't expect this reaction from Arhin. Our boy asked him if he really brought him to a place like this where he could actually die just to form a mana heart. He explained to Liam that times have changed. He revealed to him that a person can get a mana heart by just drinking an alchemist's potion or by having a walker-level knight infuse mana into him to awaken his senses and form a mana heart. This is why even noble ladies who only learn swordsmanship for self-defense can easily form a mana heart. As he struggled to hold on, Arhin asked his master to tell him why he went off an easy path and chose this method. He grit his teeth and said that he doesn't understand. Liam agreed with Arhin that the formation of a mana heart is not a difficult task. He told him that there is no reason why he can't make a mana heart the normal way. He reminded him that the blood of the caravans are imbued with the unyielding power of steel. In order to wield this mighty power, an equally tough vessel is needed. Liam told Arhin that an ordinary person's heart will not suffice. This is because the level one can reach with a human heart is still within the realm of humans. To reach the level of a sword master, there is only one thing our boy must have. Liam told Arhin that he needs something that wouldn't be scratched even if it clashed with the world. He told him that he needs a heart of steel. He told him that there is only one way for him to forge a heart of steel. He explained to Arhin that in order to make his body feel the need for a mana heart, he must endlessly push himself to the brink of death. Liam said that very few of his descendants have completed this training to the end. It is a very painful and terrible process. However, those who have endured the training to the end have all become sword masters. Liam asked Arhin if he is feeling a little motivated now. Arhin smiled and raised his hand. He said that he is feeling very motivated. Liam smiled and told his young descendant that he never lies when it comes to the sword. He assured Arhin that the mana heart he will create will be completely different from everyone's own. The scene shifts, and we are taken to the Verdi region eastern village. The place is known as Campbell. Inside a bar, we see some men discussing. One of them asked the others if they have heard about the village to the west. This village is Caravan. His friend asked him if he is referring to the place where no one has been seen for a year. He asked him about why he is asking about the creepy town. The man said that a rumor has been going around that there is something in the western village. His friend asked him about what it is. The man said that he doesn't know. He said that a dangerous being is there. He told his friend that the thugs who set foot there have never been heard from again. Some rumors say that a monster wave that the Northern Watchers missed swept through the town. Others say that necromancers experimenting with magic are stationed there. The man told his friend that there are all sorts of things being said about the village, but they all lead to one conclusion. He said that everyone agreed that no one should set foot in the western village if they don't want to die. While the men were talking, a swordsman in the bar carefully listened to them. He picked up his cup and thought about the village where people die if they enter. The man coughed out heavily. He used his handkerchief to clean the blood he coughed out. He said that Caravan is a perfect place for him. After this day, Arhin began to hold on to the cliff with only his left hand. He dealt with more uninvited guests at his mansion, even on days where he was completely drained. On some days, he would experience terrible muscle pain from physical training. It was a struggle for him to even lift his arm. Yet Arhin didn't miss a single day of training. He pushed through with all his might. He continued his training for a month. Even after a month passed, Arhin was unable to form his mana heart through the absurd training. However, our boy could tell that a change was taking place in his body. One of the changes he noticed was that his senses became incredibly sharp. The scene shifts, and we see Arhin easily dodge a chain that was thrown at him. He was facing an intruder. The intruder's iron chain had an iron ball attached to it. He threw it at Arhin again. Before the chain could touch our boy, he bent his head and dodged it. He quickly charged at the man. It wasn't just our boy's 5 senses that became sharp. His judgment and concentration in dealing with situations greatly improved. It was incomparable to what it was before. Every time he wielded his sword, he could focus on a single point for a brief moment. It felt like time stopped for everyone except him. When the man saw Arhin getting close, he swung the other side of his chain at him. Arhin easily sensed the attack. It was as if time slowed down for him. He quickly bent his head to dodge the attack. He got a clear opening. The intruder was shocked to see Arhin below him. Our boy stabbed him several times. The man screamed out in pain. He was unable to move as Arhin delivered the final strike. The past version of Arhin and the current version of him only had one thing that was different between them. The difference is that Arhin can feel mana now. The scene shifts, and we see Arhan place the weapon of the intruder on his grave. There were other weapons in the graveyard that belonged to other intruders. After burying the man, Arhan began to meditate. He knew that he was only able to defeat so many people despite not having a mana heart or being a sword beginner because of the power of the needle. He found the power to be astonishing. As he carefully released some mana, Arhan asked his master about the kind of power he will possess at the next level. Liam found it odd that Arhan was impressed by something as trivial as this. He told him that he still has a long way to go before he is no longer a novice. He said that he will still answer him. He revealed to Arhan that once he forms his mana heart, become a sword beginner, and understand the depth of his current power, he and the owner of the needle will be on equal footing. He explained to Arhan that if he takes one more step forward through the path emitted from the mana heart, he will be able to enhance his physical abilities and construct a domain for offense and defense. He will enter the realm of superhumans and reach the level of a sword walker. Liam told Arhan that even though the sword walker is the very next stage after the sword beginner, he will realize how vast the difference is between the two stages the moment he enters the next stage. He asked Arhan if he has answered his question. Our boy told his master that he now understands. He said that he has one more question. He asked his master if the man who entered his territory recently and has settled there is a sword walker. This man was the swordsman from the bar. Liam told his student that his observation is correct. He explained to him that the man is on a completely different level from the trash he has dealt with so far. He asked Arhan about what he plans on doing. He told him that he won't last a single second in his current state. Arhan got up and said that he plans to observe the situation and prepare for the worst for now. He said that he has no other choice. Liam told him that he can choose to abandon this territory in order to avoid a fight that he can't win. With a sad look in his eyes, Arhan said that this is not an option for him. Although it had been so long since the town became desolate beyond recognition, it was still the only place that held everyone's memories. Liam carefully looked at his student. He knew that our boy was emotional. He asked him to grow stronger. He told him that in the Iron Kingdom, only the strong have the answer. He explained to Arhan that even his simple wish is nothing but greed and luxury for his current self. He advised him to dwell on and ruminate over the emotions he feels right now. He asked him to use his emotions as a driving force to obtain what he desires. He advised Arhan to feed on this trial and become as hard as steel so that no one will ever dare to laugh at his words. The scene shifts, and we see someone pointing his sword at Arhan. Our boy wondered if it was because of the words his master uttered. He somehow found himself in an unexpected trial. The person pointing his sword at him was the sword walker. The man asked Arhan not to think about running away. He covered his sword in his energy and told our boy that he will cut him down the moment he shows him his back. Arhan nervously glared at the man. The scene shifts, and we are taken back to the past, after the mysterious man stepped into the territory. Observing him became a new part of Arhan's daily routine. Arhan was able to learn a few things about him. For instance, even though the village was filled with empty houses, the man never touched even the smallest trinket. It was as if he believed that every single house still had an owner. He lived a simple life with only the belongings he brought. The man would often lose himself in thought while watching the sunset every day. He was either doing this or he was busy praying. Arhan reached a conclusion after seeing the man's behavior. He realized that the man was a knight. Liam agreed with Arhan. He said that the man strictly adheres to rules and watches his manners even when no one is watching, despite being a swordsman who has reached the level of a sword walker. Aside from knights, most people are not this inflexible. Arhan said that the man might not be a bad first neighbor. He knew that knights are those who uphold honor and pursue justice. He believed that they were much better than the other intruders. Liam said that knights truly pursue honor. He told Arhan that it is misleading to call knights righteous beings. He explained to him that honor is highly subjective. He told Arhan that he cannot say that the honor the knights believe in and uphold is good to everyone. Liam explained to our boy that a knight's honor is defined by the one who they have sworn loyalty to, the person who provides them with valuable riches. Their honor is decided by the will of their employer. Liam decided to teach Arhan the meaning of a knight again. He told him that a knight is merely a swordsman who uses honor as a pretext to exercise violence. He is an executioner who carries out killings based on sword techniques passed down for generations. Since they are clad in expensive gear, knights are just enemies that are annoyingly difficult to kill. Liam advised Arhan not to be blinded by the hollow ring of the word night. He asked him to observe and judge the essence of the target itself. He advised Arhin to doubt. He told him that this is the precious talent he possesses. Arhin was surprised to hear this. He asked his master if he is serious. Liam told him that he has always been like this since he was a child. Although he listened to the legends of the caravan that his father told him, Arhin still endlessly delved into the truth of the stories on his own. Even in situations where he might have endangered himself by being intoxicated with the power he gained, Arhin found his answer by eliminating variables through morbid sensitivity and observation. Liam explained to Arhin that doubt is the refusal to be swayed by what a person simply sees and hears. It is an attitude of using every means, method, and endless thought to try and reach the truth. Those who do not know doubt can never cross their limits. Liam advised Arhin to never lose this trait. He told him that this trait is his talent for the sword. Arhin didn't expect to hear this. He told his master that he understands. He assured him that he will keep this in mind. Although Arhin was taught to never let his guard down when it came to this strange man, after taking a lot of time to determine that the man wouldn't turn into an intruder, Arhin decided to approach him very slowly. He wanted to simply invite the man to be a neighbor. This was the time that the man pointed his sword at him. He told Arhin that he knows that he has been watching him the whole time. He advised him not to think of running away. He assured him that he will cut him down on the spot if he shows him his back. Arhin nervously stared at the man. He didn't expect things to turn out like this. The scene shifts, and we are taken to the past. We see Mary thinking about how her nickname was more popular than she thought. Thanks to this, Mary received recruitment offers from well-known mercenary groups. She was also often pestered by thugs who came to see her after hearing the rumors about her. In the midst of these days, a certain thought occurred to Mary. She wondered if she had gone beyond the level of a female mercenary using a peculiar sword and has truly become a strong swordsman. Unfortunately, it didn't take long for a day to come where Mary realized that she was being arrogant. She knelt down in front of a knight after having her sword destroyed. The knight asked her if she is the sewing gypsy. He told her that it is a fitting name for a feeble sword. The knight could tell that she was proud of her own skills. He grabbed Mary's hair and asked her not to flatter herself. He told her that she is nothing but a lowly mercenary. He explained to Mary that he would have killed her on the spot if she wasn't a woman. He let go of her and told her that the only reason she survived today is due to the rules of the Red Hawk Knights. He said that the Red Hawks never take the lives of women and children. He asked Mary to spend the rest of her life being grateful for their chivalry. Mary grabbed her broken sword. She felt an immeasurable wall between herself and the man. Later, Mary found out that the man had reached the stage of a sword walker. The scene shifts, and we are taken back to Arhin. Our boy recalled that Mary was far stronger than him in the memories he has digested. He couldn't believe that someone like her was defeated without being able to lift a finger. Arhin could feel an overwhelming sense of death. It was more vivid than the time he was hanging on the cliff. Arhin wondered if this was why his heart's pounding was growing stronger. He noticed that he could see something. He could see the realm of a superhuman that was possible only from a sword walker and above. At this level, mana was sprayed outside the body like blood vessels. It allowed the knight to add his will to his offense and defense. Arhin saw that he got cut multiple times. He realized that this was the path of a sword walker. The knight asked him for his reason for watching him. He could tell that Arhin was the one from the rumors who attacked the other visitors. He told Arhin that he will have no choice but to consider him an enemy if he doesn't have a valid reason. He asked him to give him an answer. Arhin told the man that he was trying to distinguish whether he was a guest or an intruder. The knight told him that he doesn't really understand. He asked Arhin to be more specific. Our boy said that he is a resident who was born and raised there. He said that he was away from the territory for a while a year ago, and when he returned he found out that his neighbors had vanished and the village had fallen into ruin. He told the knight that it was as if a necromancer unleashed a beast in the village. He explained to him that vagrants and barbarians have been invading this place since that time and have frequently threatened the village and his life. Arhin told the man that he has dealt with all of them on his own. He believed that there was no reason for him to share the whole truth with the man. He told the knight that he seems more powerful than the other intruders. He said that he was certain that he would die if he carelessly approached him. He told the knight that this is the reason he has been watching him. He said that he wanted to judge whether he is an intruder or a guest. He explained to the knight that he was going to invite him to be a neighbor if it was the latter. However, if it was the former, he would have had to devise other plans for the territory. The knight asked Arhin if he truly intended on opposing him, even though he knows the difference in their skills. Arhin told him that this is the land that holds a lifetime of his memories. He said that it is too precious for him to simply abandon and flee. The knight was shocked to hear this. He seemed to be touched by Arhin's words. He told him that he has gone through something very difficult. He said that it is now time for him to state his position. He believed that they needed to know each other's circumstances to be neighbors. He asked Arhin to lower his guard and his sword. He said that he will also sheath his sword and tell him his story. The moment he heard this, Arhin remembered that his master told him that there is only one way to forge a heart of steel. Liam told Arhin that he must push himself to the brink of death endlessly so that his body itself begins to crave a mana heart. He asked Arhin if he is feeling motivated now. Upon remembering this, Arhin apologized to the knight and told him that he cannot put his sword away. He told him that he cannot fully trust him yet and he needs his sword for a little defense. The knight did not expect to hear this. He asked Arhin if he doesn't know that his sword would be meaningless if he truly wanted to harm him. He explained to him that in this situation where they have both drawn their weapons, it would be a blemish on a knight's honor if he was the first to sheath his sword. The man said that he must uphold his honor. Arhin assured him that he knows this. He said that he can't back down either. He remembered how he knelt down in front of the sword master. With a serious look on his face, our boy said that he has sworn to never kneel in fear and give up before even fighting. As he pointed his sword at Arhin, the knight carefully looked at him. He noticed that our boy looked delicate enough to pass for a girl, and yet, his entire body shows signs of enduring, grueling training. Although Arhin's frame seems flimsy, his balance was impeccable. The knight could tell that Arhin hasn't learned proper swordsmanship. He knew that our boy was using an unorthodox style that pours everything into the first strike. The knight realized that Arhin hasn't gone past the level of a beginner. In other words, Arhin poses no threat to him. The knight was certain that Arhin was aware of this fact, but he couldn't understand why our boy had such a determined look on his face. Arhin was completely locked in. He could see the mana that the knight let out from his mouth and his sword. The knight knew that a half-hearted response wouldn't be enough to match Arhin's spirit. He focused on a single path and charged at Arhin. He planned to strike our boy's wrist and disarm him. He believed that this was the best way to avoid injuring him. Before he could swing his sword at Arhin, he sensed his presence. Our boy blocked the knight's attack. The knight was shocked to see this. He couldn't believe that his sword was deflected by a boy who wasn't even a beginner yet. He watched Arhin jump back. He quickly noticed that the surrounding mana was surging like waves with just one breath from Arhin. The man wondered if something formed within Arhin in the split second that he blocked the attack. He noticed that our boy had created an abnormal mana heart. The knight believed that it should be impossible for Arhin to deflect his attack. He couldn't believe that our boy actually managed to do it. He wondered if this was because of the mana heart Arhin possesses. A normal mana heart is typically soft and flexible. However, Arhin's own is astonishingly rigid and solid. It was just like steel. Although the man wasn't certain of anything, one thing was clear to him. He knew that Arhin's sword was coming, and it contained our boy's entire being. This was a strike that Arhin staked on his very life. While gathering his mana, Arhin began to breathe heavily. He knew that he wasn't able to block the knight's sword because of his skill. It was nothing more than a fluke. Arhin knew that the knight had no intention of hurting him from the start. The man aimed for his wrist to avoid his vital points, and the force behind his attack was minimal. This was the only reason why it was possible for Arhin to block the attack. He predicted the trajectory and thrust the tip of the needle into the gap to block the attack. The price for the miracle was steep. The impact of the strike was like colliding head-on with a speeding carriage. Arhin felt as if every bone in his body had shattered. The pain was ravaging his entire body. This was truly a despairing gap in power. However, Arhin was able to gain the thing he longed for so desperately. He had finally awakened a heart of steel. Even so, he was still only a beginner. Arhin knew that his thrusts will never reach the man. There was only one way he could stand a chance. Our boy needed to create a path of his own as someone who possesses the heart of steel and the needle. He was going to use Mary's memories as a stepping stone. The day Mary collapsed in front of the overwhelming wall of a sword walker, she faced an insurmountable limit head-on. At this moment, her body trembled with fear. The first thing that came to her mind was Hekel's voice. While struggling to breathe on his deathbed, Hekel told Mary that most swordsmen see a wall and consider it an insurmountable limit. But this is merely an excuse for those who lack the courage to clash and choose to settle. Hekul gathered his strength and told Mary that walls exist for a person to overcome them. He said that the fear felt before a wall is the fate of one who holds a sword, and the wall is nothing more than a stepping stone to reach greater heights. Hekul asked Mary not to look away and to stand tall. He told her that she needs to face the wall head-on. As she remembered this, Mary pushed herself up and created an image of the knight in front of her. She charged at the knight and swung her sword at him. As she did this, she remembered Hekul telling her that she will be cut and torn apart miserably time and time again. He told her that she will fall to her knees in helplessness. As she thought of his words, the knight landed more imaginary cuts on her. Mary remembered Hekul telling her that if she doesn't give up and continue to strike against the wall, her sword will surely surpass the wall. Immediately she remembered this. Mary stabbed the knight in his neck. The imaginary knight slowly faded away. Mary smiled when she realized that she fought against this wall. She remembered Hekul telling her that she simply needs to believe in herself. Upon seeing Mary's memories, Arhin took a different stance. If a person has ever held a sword, if they have ever lived a fierce life, they will eventually face a massive wall that blocks their path. The pressure of the wall seeps deep beneath the skin. The crushing sense of hopelessness makes even a single step feel like a burden. A person will feel like turning their back and running away. However, Arhin was different. He stood up to the wall. He intended on clashing against it. His resistance could be seen as nothing more than youthful recklessness. However, this was a trial that Arhin absolutely had to go through. It didn't matter if his path wasn't perfect, even if it was clumsy and incomplete. As long as there was a possibility of him reaching his target, Arhin was fine with it. He knew that he had to doubt and observe. He knew that he had to watch which muscles the knight puts his strength into, how he catches his breath, and he needed to focus on the trajectory the man intends to draw. He needed to gather every clue, eliminate what was unnecessary, and create his path. Arhin carefully circulated his mana. He found different paths to his target. He knew that he only needed one path to reach the knight. Liam smiled when he saw what his disciple was doing. He wanted Arhin to advance without yielding to any adversity. He believed that this is what it means to be a caravan. Liam wanted Arhin to not be afraid to clash and shatter. He wanted him to be willing to throw his body before a trial and forge himself, and then later display his skill before the world. This was the flow of the caravan's will. As he thought of this, Arhin gathered the different paths in front of him and began to weave them together. He created a path and charged at the man. As he ran towards the knight, he remembered Mary talking about how she was afraid. Her circumstances of being the sole survivor of the blazing flames, the fact that the tragedy which took everything away from her was merely the beginning. Mary remembered the times when she couldn't even face a mirror, the days where even breathing was burdensome. This was how she knew that what she truly had to fear was not the fire, but her own weakness of constantly running away. Mary decided to thrust her sword forward. She thought about how her daily life, her family, and her future was taken away by a world filled with fire. She said that she only has one answer if someone asks her if she pierced through the world. She said that she will say that she is no longer afraid of the fire nor the world. Even if she collapses, even if she can't win, Mary plans to face everything head-on. As she said this, Arhin gathered his energy and thrust his blade at the man. The knight took a stance when he saw our boy's needle coming close. Arhin put everything into the thrust and aimed it at the knight. The knight grit his teeth and swung his sword at him. When their swords clashed, a powerful wave of energy was released. Arhin's blade shattered. As the blade flew in the air, we hear Mary asking Hekul if it is peaceful on the other side. She said that she followed his advice and left the orphanage to enter into the world. She said that she used the technique he passed down and the single needle he placed in her hand to become free like him. She told her master that she yearns for a life of wandering. She said that she is not sure if she can truly say that she lived such a life. She told her master that the world is swarming with monsters that are stronger than her, and there were many high walls that she couldn't overcome with will alone. As she stood in front of a huge man carrying a mace, Mary told her master that there wasn't a single wall in her path that she ever turned away from, even at the very last moments of her life. According to Surgeon's doctrine, Mary told her master that they will meet again in the embrace of the flames. She said that she will share her story with him the same way he did when that time comes. As tears fell out of her eyes, Mary said that the story will probably begin with her saying that she is not afraid of the fire anymore. Immediately she said this, Mary saw Hekul. She quickly ran to him. She transformed into a little girl and gave her master a hug. She smiled brightly as she hugged her master. After seeing this set of memories, Arhin completely digested the needle. In the next scene, we see Arhin slowly open his eyes. He saw a campfire next to him. He realized that he passed out. He noticed that there was a robe on his body. He recalled that the robe belonged to the knight. He saw his blade next to him. He realized that he failed to break through in the end. Arhin picked up his broken blade and held it tightly. Liam called out to him and advised him not to be disheartened. He told him that the fight was a struggle worthy of the caravan name. He smiled and said that something came along with the painful defeat. He asked Arhin if he has noticed it. He revealed to him that he has completely digested the needle. Arhin noticed that his muscles have become incomparably more flexible than before. His senses have also become as sharpened as that of a wild beast. Arhin felt as if he had become a veteran mercenary who has lived their whole life on the battlefield. He now understood his master's intention in choosing this sword. It wasn't just for its strength and technique. Liam wanted to show Arhin Mary's life itself. He wanted to show him the will that never gives up even in the face of immense danger. Liam wanted Arhin to understand Mary's indomitable spirit. Arhin wondered if his master couldn't just tell him about this from the start. While he was looking at Liam, the knight asked him if he has fully regained consciousness. Arhin quickly turned to him when he heard his voice. He jumped back to create some distance between himself and the man. The knight told him that he went to fetch some water. He didn't expect Arhin to react like this. Our boy was ready to fight him again. The man realized that there's still some misunderstanding between them that they need to resolve. Liam told Arhin that there is no need for him to be wary. He assured him that the knight is not the kind of person who would harm him. Although he said this, Liam knew that his student will still doubt the situation. The man told Arhin that he understands his reaction. He knew that it wouldn't be easy for our boy to lower his guard. He put his water bottle down and asked Arhin if he will lower his guard after he shares his story with him. He told our boy that he will tell him why he came there and why he cannot be a threat to him. Arhin noticed that the man grabbed his clothes. He asked him about what he is doing. The knight took off his shirt and decided to formally introduce himself. He told Arhin that his name is Patel. He said that he is a retired knight and a wanderer with nowhere to go. He revealed his damaged body and told Arhin that he is a terminally ill patient on the verge of death. He explained to our boy that high priests who have studied medicine their whole lives have confirmed his illness and told him that he has a month left to live. Patel said that he is nothing more than a sick man waiting for death. Arhin was shocked to hear what he said. The man asked him if he will listen to his story for a moment. After the brief commotion settled, Arhin and Patel had a conversation. Unfortunately, unlike his swordsmanship, Patel was not very eloquent. He often repeated himself and poured out his story and emotions incoherently. It wasn't a smooth communication, but to Arhin, this clumsiness felt like unadorned sincerity. Arhin was able to learn that Patel left the knighthood he was loyal to after being diagnosed with terminal illness. He became a knight who searched for a place to die. Patel said that he didn't leave the order for any grand reasons. He said that he just didn't want to be a burden while ending his breathless life. He told Arhin that he simply wishes to spend his final moments quietly on his own terms. Arhin didn't know what to say to the man. Liam told him that Patel isn't lying. He revealed to him that Patel's mana heart is being devoured by the illness even at this moment. Once it encroaches upon the mana heart and reaches his heart, Patel's life will come to an end. Patel stretched out his hand and asked Arhin if this is good enough for him to be his neighbor. Arhin carefully looked at his hand. He knew that it wouldn't have been easy for Patel to share his story. He stood up and shook Patel's hand. He thanked him for sharing his story and told him his name. He said that he is the last resident of this land which has lost its name and has been forgotten. He welcomed Patel to the neighborhood. Patel thanked him for his hospitality. As Arhin held Patel's hand, Liam carefully looked at him. He looked at our boy's mana heart. He knew that it was time for them to take the next step. He smiled when he thought of a certain location. He said that there is no better place than this place. A few days later, we see Arhin in a carriage. He was heading somewhere. He told his master that he still doesn't understand why they are doing this. He explained to him that he believed that he would instruct him in swordsmanship directly now that he was at the level of a sword beginner. He didn't think that his master would say that they needed to go to another place. He said that he is lucky that he doesn't have to worry about intruders disturbing the mansion thanks to Patel. He asked Liam if there is a need for them to travel this far. Liam let out a sigh and told Arhin that he still hasn't escaped the mindset of an ordinary person. He referred to our boy as his foolish descendant and asked him about how many times he needs to repeat something before he can understand. He explained to Arhin that caravans are different from anyone else in the world. He told him that the blood of steel flows in his body and conventional swordsmanship training doesn't really matter. Instead, Arhin needed to focus on the endless struggle that beats his body to its limits and the digestion of new swords. These were the things necessary for Arhin's growth. Liam told our boy that their current destination is the perfect place to look for these things. He said that it is a place where status or origin doesn't matter. It is where only those who covet flesh-plattering strife gather. It is a place for life-staking duels. Liam guided Arhin to a building. Inside the building, we see two people fighting. An audience was cheering for them. This place was a coliseum. Liam told Arhin that they called this place the arena in his time. Guys, we have come to the end of our video. Did you guys like Mary's story? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to like and smash that subscribe button for more recaps. See you guys later.